Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Parents of twins, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome in to the facility. Not necessarily new faces, but we got T back in the house. That's TJ Hoofmanzada, 12-year NFL vet. T, I think I left this on the desk. That's on me. It's Monday. Apologies, beautiful people. Getting the rust off. To my left, Super Bowl champ, the one and only James Jones. Now, on any given Monday, you have to start a show with one simple question. T, what was the highlight of the weekend?
I don't know if it was a highlight, man. We lost the basketball tournament. My son's team.
How old?
11.
Did he cry?
No, ain't no crying.
Did you cry?
Not physically crying, but yeah, I was hurting.
I think the better question would have been was how well did he play? Because if he didn't play well, then the car ride is what.
Nah, you know what, man? I've gotten, because of my daughters.
Okay.
They used to get the car ride talk.
Gotcha.
My son, I'm chilling.
Hold on, the car ride talk. Viewers at home, I don't necessarily know what that is. So, T, what exactly is the car ride talk?
All the mistakes we made in the game, wow. And what we gonna do so those mistakes don't pop up again?
Hey, and for me, it's all about how hard you play. All right? If you didn't play hard, we finna have a problem. And if you ain't shoot the ball, I be telling my kids, what's the name of the shoes you got on? I got the coat. He gon' shoot. you don't got the Pat Beverly's on.
Hey, you know what they do though? Acho, when they know they had a bad game and they know these card right talks, as soon as you get in the car, they act like they sleep.
That's it. Hey, that's quite the tactic. Well, we're glad you woke up on this morning. So much to get to. Genuinely do not know how we're going to get it all in. A lot of very interesting topics. Some you may not have heard of, but this one I know you have. Starting with LeBron James in the NBA. He picked up his player option for over $52 million to remain with the Lakers this season. His agent, Rich Paul, said LeBron will be closely monitoring the Lakers' moves to see if they are positioning themselves this offseason to be a title contender. Bringing us back on camera, please. After I saw this, I thought to myself, I love this decision, LeBron staying with the Lakers. I think LeBron staying with the Lakers at this point in his career, the best move LeBron can make is a legacy move for his son, Bronny James. If you stay with the Lakers, at least you can do this. You can ensure that Bronny James can stay in the NBA for the next 8 to 12 years. If you leave the Lakers, then you're leaving Bronny James kind of to just be stuck in the wilderness of the NBA. You don't know if he'll make it. You don't know if he won't make it. But at this point in LeBron's career, I don't know what another ring will do. Yeah. I don't know what another playoff appearance will do. I don't know what another deep playoff run just to lose in the conference finals or lose in the NBA finals will do. But I do know this. More than anything, you can set your son Bronny up, who got drafted last year, second round, I think 55th overall pick. You can set him up for success going forward. T just started off the show. James started off the show talking about their kids. I would say, and I can't speak for them, but I can guess for them, that nothing is more important to them in this life than their kids. So if LeBron can set his child Bronny up for the future, then that's worth it. I don't know that the Lakers are going to compete for titles. I don't know that the Lakers are going to compete for championships, but LeBron can do something that is even more important at this stage in his career than a title, which is setting his son Bronny up. So I don't think, James, it's a mistake to stay with the Lakers. How do you feel?
I absolutely love this decision, and one of the main decisions was Bronny.
Yeah.
Your son is here. You said, I want to play with my son. You played with him this year. Continue to play with him. LeBron probably has 2 more years in the NBA. Enjoy it with your son. Enjoy it with your family. Don't have to move him again. And then not only that, where are you going? OKC? I mean, where are you going? Like, LeBron trying to go out there and get with another big three or to chase another ring and all that? No, stay put. See if they can add some pieces here with the Lakers. They already gave you Luka. I absolutely love his decision to stay here, man, and play. Obviously, he has a lot of things going on here, but I think this is the right place for him to be, too, with a chance to compete with Luka on the side of him.
I love it. Y'all know I love it. And anytime you're making $52 million,
You know what I'm saying?
it's never a mistake. We ain't making $52 million mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But what Acho said to me is so important is his son is here.
No doubt.
And LeBron is going to play as long as Bronny has not established himself.
Yeah.
So I say 2 years because within Bronny going into his 4th year, he's going to show whether he's a player or he's not a player. And at that point, it's like LeBron lead the Lakers, he can't look after Bronny. And as a parent, we going to look after our children. And so I love it. But where else could he have gone and made $52 million? OKC, they not giving LeBron $52 million. The Boston Celtics, they not going to get LeBron 50. So what team could he have gone to, be competitive, and also make $52 million? Right. And so, to me, I like it because if we had a big, we right there.
Correct. And that's the thing. When I think about the West, right, and I want to remind y'all of the standings, the Western Conference picture is so close that, to T's point, unless you're going to play for the reigning champ Oklahoma City Thunder, you might as well stay on the Lakers.
Exactly.
The gap between the 2 seed and the 8 seed in the Western Conference was simply 4 games. The gap between the 2 seed, y'all, and the 8 seed was 4 games. Every team from the 2 seed to the 10 seed in the West, they have deficiencies. The Rockets, we don't know what they're going to look like. Their deficiency is a lack of chemistry. Kevin Durant just got there. You see the Denver Nuggets, their deficiency, they don't have a head coach. They're still trying to stabilize from a coaching perspective. Plus, some of the star players are starting to get older and more injured. The Clippers, they've never gone past the second round. Obviously, the Lakers, they need a big, and Austin Reeves needs to figure out if he can show up in the playoffs. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Randolph, what is he doing as a number 2? And Ant-Man, he still has to figure out how to score in the playoffs. The Warriors are old. And the Grizzlies are led by Ja Morant, and now with Bane out the window, who knows what they're going to do. The Dallas Mavericks are sitting there as a 9-10 seed, and even the Mavericks are trying to figure out what they can do from a health perspective, and they're going to have to be highly dependent on a rookie in Cooper Flagg. You might as well stay in L.A. because outside of the Thunder, the Lakers give you just as good a shot to win as anybody else.
And not only that, like, Tino, I mean, you don't got no kids. The toughest thing to do in your career is keep moving them. You know, and I know his kids are older, and I know he still has a young daughter, but when you just keep, hey, you at this school, you at that school, like, you were blessed, I was blessed to play at a place for a long time, but at the end of our career, we did bounce around a little bit, and it's like, man, you know what?
Yeah.
It's done with that movement, man. I'm going to stay put, my son here, family here, everybody good. And you got a chance.
T, I found something that you would find more fascinating than anybody else. The NFL, they came out with the rankings, not necessarily the NFL, but it has to do with the NFL. The rankings of the best players in football. You played the majority of your career with the Bengals. Joe Burrow, fascinatingly, ranked the 7th best player in the NFL, behind the likes of Patrick Mahomes. Y'all see the list. Miles Garrett, Saquon Barkley, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson, Lamar Jackson, but ahead of Jamar Chase, Surtain, and Michael Parsons rounding out the top 10. For the sake of this conversation, T, focusing on the team that drafted you, if I am not mistaken, that is the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that you're more familiar with than any other team in the NFL. You have an issue with cool Joe Burrow being ranked the 7th best player in the NFL.
Man, when you do this ranking, and Joe Burrow's number 7, your list ain't valid. It don't make no sense.
Why?
Straight up and down. Now, you looking like that.
Yeah.
So now, James Jones and Emmanuel, y'all the general managers. Let me ask you this.
Okay, so now
I'm going to call James Jones and Emmanuel Acho, the general manager, and I'm going to say, hey, guys, trade me Myles Garrett and all 4 of your quarterbacks. I'll give you Joe Burrow. You making that trade?
Of course.
Of course you are.
Of course. That's different.
No, hold up.
Go ahead, go listening.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Acho.
Yeah.
I want to trade Joe Burrow to you guys, but I want you to give me Saquon and Jalen Hurts. You going to do that?
Of course.
Absolutely. Of course you going to do that. Yeah. Hey, one more call. Mr. Jones and Mr. Acho.
Hold on, let me call you back.
I want J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson. I'm going to send you Joe Burrow. You going to do that?
Yes.
Of course you going to do it. And you going to have him behind those guys? Now, to me, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. No order. Those are the 4. They special. They're in a league of their own. So when you have him number 7, that's disrespectful. That don't make no sense because everybody, all those guys in front of them that I just named, their teams would trade them and something else for Joe Burrow.
A different conversation. I feel like the conversation T is subtly having is who are the top 10 most valuable players? Because for me, Joe Burrow is not undoubtedly the best player at his position. Saquon Barkley is. Myles Garrett might not be undoubtedly the best player at his position because of T.J. Watt, but Myles Garrett is a future first-ballot Hall of Famer. Saquon Barkley likely as well. I don't mind putting first-ballot Hall of Famers, people that are either undoubtedly or more than likely Justin Jefferson, the best player at the position ahead of cool Joe Burrow. I think 7 is actually a perfect landing spot for Joe Burrow on this list. Now, obviously, I'm going to give you a non-quarterback for a quarterback. You can take Saquon, give me Joe.
100%.
You can take Myles, give me Joe. But Myles Garrett is better at what he does than Joe Burrow is at what he does.
I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that.
How?
I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with that.
How, sir? Joe Burrow ain't got no All-Pros, not a first team nor a second team. No. Joe Burrow has 1 Pro Bowl. Myles Garrett has a Defensive Player of the Year. Forget an All-Pro. I'm better than everybody in football that plays defense. Joe Burrow cannot say that, sir. You got to break down how Joe Burrow might be as good as Myles.
No, Joe Burrow can say that, and there's many that would agree with him. Not all. If Joe Burrow said, I'm the best player in the league, there are many people that would agree with him. Many.
That aren't Bengals fans?
Non-Bengals fans. The way Joe has been injured. When Joe is not injured, he's one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the league.
I
2
agree.
Pro Bowls, T. That's it.
But I do agree.
No All-Pros.
Better quarterback. None.
No.
We know that.
The fact that Joe Burrow has no All-Pros and I do is crazy. That's crazy.
I'm just saying.
That's crazy. Think about that. I have him, and he does it is crazy. But
one of the best at your position.
I got 2 of them. This is the thing, though. This is the thing, is I just look at the Bengals have come so far, and they still have so far to go when it comes to other organizations.
Yeah.
To take them to the Super Bowl, because I know
what that means.
That's a lot. He's in a situation where he's always fighting uphill. Look, the Eagles. You get drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't think people realize how lucky you are. That's a gift to be drafted to an organization. I'm not saying it's a curse to go to the Bengals, but it's harder. It's harder, and to do what he's done there, and all those guys, I'm not saying they can't play. They great players.
No doubt.
Myles Garrett, to me, is the best pass rusher in the league. Mm-hmm. But I want Joe Burrow.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the quarterback. I have no problem with it. Joe Burrow's one of the baddest men in the NFL. So I have no problem with him being in the top 10. I disagree with TJ thinking he should be in the top 5 and all that when you're arguably the 4th best quarterback in the league, and we arguing should you be in front of the best pass rusher in the league or the best receiver in the league or the best running back in the league. So I don't mind this because Joe Burrow's a bad man, but at the end of the day, though, Joe Burrow could be going on year 3 with no playoffs. Mm-hmm. He was healthy all year last year, and his team did not make the playoffs. But I still don't have a problem with it because everything you said, T, about him being a bad man, that is Joe.
That's true.
Joe is that. And I would trade Saquon Barkley straight up for Joe Burrow. You would because you need a quarterback for your franchise. But when you talk about the best players, I can't put him in the top 5 and you're the 4th best at your position. I just can't do that.
Where I will agree with T, and I think this is the most fascinating, undiscussed conversation in all of sports, is the fact that the Bengals were so bad and Joe Burrow made them so good. I was drafted to the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, good.
You were drafted to the Bengals. You were drafted to the Packers. So you don't understand the poverty struggle of some of these poverty franchises. And I don't mean poverty necessarily by wealth. I mean poverty by mindset. I tell this story all the time. T, you can relate. James, you probably can't. My first day of training camp with the Cleveland Browns, I'm coming from the University of Texas. At the University of Texas, I played in a national championship game. My coach goes into the College Football Hall of Fame in Mac Brown. I know nothing besides winning. Yeah. When we lose, it's a surprise. Last 2 years at Texas, we lost. Surprise. I go to Cleveland. This is a true story. I'm in Cleveland. We just finished an incredible workout in the offseason. The offseason, you are living in a utopian society where everything will go well, everything will go right. Y'all are the best team in football. Our coach, he brings us all up. Hey, fellas, bring it in. You got about 53 palms raised in the middle of the circle, 53 of them. At that time, it's the offseason, so you really probably have closer to 90 fists raised into the circle. Helmets lifted above the head, beads of sweat beating down the face. Our coach with everybody in the circle, he says this, hey, fellas, if y'all continue to practice like this, these kind of perfect bricks you're laying down, this foundation, we'll look up at the end of the season, we'll be 12-4. We'll be 13-3. And I'm sitting there with my fist up thinking to myself, did this mother sucker just give us losses? Like, wait, if we're perfect, you're assuming we're going to lose? I was like, oh, this is Cleveland. Even in your head, you've already lost games. In the offseason, it's, hey, fellas, we got a Super Bowl team. We do stuff like this, nobody can beat us. But with my fist raised, I'm like, oh, this is why Cleveland's sorry. Because the coach can't even believe the lie that they'll be good.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that moment because I was like, this is why they suck.
Yeah.
And it's my first time there, so I am the they that sucks. And so when I think about the Joe Burrows, and that's why I fight so hard for the Baker Mayfield, it's not a Baker Mayfield conversation, but when I think about the Joe Burrows or people that resurrect poverty franchises, I'm like, y'all don't understand. That player walked into an organization where the coach and the whole organization already assumed they gonna lose and made them winners. For that reason, I give you that.
But that's why we put Joe in the top 4 right now, though.
Without having the All-Pros.
Without having the All-Pros, without being in the playoffs the last 2 years, we still say, with what Joe did, being the first overall pick, coming to Cincinnati, taking them to an AFC championship and a Super, we put him in them conversations because of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think Joe gets a lot of respect that he deserves and that he earned, and he's a bad man. Better get your butt to them playoffs.
Hey, well, speaking of respect, Caitlin Clark not only has gotten respect, many suggested she deserves everything she's gotten. But get this, 1.2 million All-Star votes from the fans. That's over 1 million more than the top vote getter 2 years ago. Have we ever seen anything like the phenom that is Caitlin Clark? That's next episode.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Incredible news out of the WNBA. The All-Star votes are in, and Caitlin Clark leads with 1.29 million All-Star votes. For context, the leading vote getter, Asia Wilson, 2 years ago, 95,000. Caitlin Clark, an absolute phenom. I would suggest a star of a generation. James, have we ever seen anything like Caitlin Clark? 1.29 million All-Star votes, obviously has a whole world watching.
Not off the court, not with the attention that she's brought to the WNBA. We have not seen anything like her. Charter planes, 18,000, 20,000, stadium sold out for WNBA games.
You bought the league pass.
Bought the league pass. I'm part of helping them, get their bread up. She has changed that. But as a player-wise, no. We've seen many better players than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is not going to be a great player, because she is. She's going to be a phenomenal player. She's a great player right now. But the Maya Moores, we just seen the young superstar get her jersey retired, and Candace Parker for the LA Sparks. There has been so many dominant players in the WNBA. I can't say that her game is better than those women's game. So from the standpoint of her being better than those ladies, no. Than those women, no, absolutely not. But the eyeballs and bringing the attention to the WNBA, obviously she has changed the way everybody looks and views the WNBA for sure.
I'm with James, no. And I'm going to take it back a little further. Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Sue Bird, your neck of the woods, Diana Taurasi. We've seen really good players.
Great players.
But Caitlin Clark came into the league, and at worst, she's a top 12 player. Yeah. Led the league in assists, 7 in scoring. It's something about her.
Yeah.
It's the way she carries herself. As the kids would say nowadays, she has an aura about herself, right? And that's her. She can't help it that people gravitate to her. You got to be a really good player, number one. You have to be a good player to be in the position that she's in. But it's something about her. She has you're like, what is it? I don't know what it is. We know she can ball, but it's something about her. When she beat South Carolina, when she was at Iowa, she's talking trash. And then they lose to LSU, and that's when her and Angel That, to me, was the beginning of it. But when you can score the ball the way that she does, you pass the ball the way that she does, but the fans feel they can relate to her. I don't know, social media, and it's instant stardom now. But Caitlin Clark, we haven't seen anything like this off the court. We haven't. We've seen really good players. As you said, probably better players at this stage. We've never seen this.
Well, I think Caitlin Clark, she caught the perfect firestorm of incredible timing. One of the most fascinating just life stories. The majority of the tech wizards and billionaires are all around the same age. They're all between the age of 60 and 70, from Bill Gates to Steve Jobs, if he were still here, Michael Dell, because you had to be just old enough to be able to understand the computer modems at the time in which the computers started to enter into the private school systems, but you couldn't be so old that you didn't know how to navigate technology. You had to match that perfect age range. Go back and look it up. All of the tech wizards, from those that started Microsoft and Dell, they're in the perfect age range because it fit a moment in time. When you talk about the Maya Moores, the Diana Taurasi's, the Cynthia Coopers, the Lisa Leslie's, they were ahead of the time because I don't think the world at large was ready for women's sports and the boom of women's sports like we are now. Women's sports, shout out to what really the Women's World Cup team has done in soccer, preparing us, Simone Biles preparing us, other dominant female athletes, Serena Williams preparing us. So Caitlin Clark caught a moment in time, but I can suggest we've never seen anything like Caitlin Clark, and I would hope people would understand a rising tide floats all boats. What I mean by that, Caitlin Clark, 1.3 million All-Star votes this year from a fan perspective. Yeah. Asia Wilson 2 years ago, just 95,000. She was a leading vote getter 2 years ago. So you're talking about a difference in 1.1, 1.2 million votes.
What are the men getting in votes? Isn't it somewhere around there?
Wait for this, because this gets even better. Look at the top 10 comparison. The top 10 vote getters this year, or 2 years ago, 658,000 cumulatively. T, wait till I tell you this year. 4.9 million for the top 10 vote getters. So not only is Caitlin Clark helping Caitlin Clark, Caitlin Clark is literally helping every other WNBA player. And I'm going to give you a statistic that I'm not going to show graphically. Over 6 more million votes from the fans this year than just 2 years ago. That's after the Maya Moores, after the Taurasi's, after the Candace Parkers, after the Cynthia Coopers and the Lisa Leslie's. What I'm suggesting is a rising tide floats all boats. Caitlin Clark isn't just bringing in attention for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is bringing in attention for every other athlete in the WNBA. And James, you brought this up, T. I don't know if you can attest to it. The reason I got recruited to go to Texas is because scouts were first coming to watch my brother. Sam Macho played 9 years in the NFL. As they come in there to watch my brother, not even knowing that I exist.
Who's this?
Who that? Who that 6'2", 200-pound dude that's out there running all fast and whatnot? Next thing you know, I get a scholarship offer because of that. Ty Montgomery, he's 3 years younger than me. He ends up playing 9 or so years in the NFL, a wide receiver, plays for the Packers and whatnot. As they come into this little private school, St. Mark's, to watch the Yacho brothers.
They see Ty, young Ty.
Who that? So before you know it, my brother begets me a scholarship offer. I beget Ty a scholarship offer. We all end up in the National Football League out of a private school that graduates 70 people per year, 70 people per graduating class. So my thing is just let the Caitlin Clark rising tide float all boats.
Yeah, and that's why I say we've never seen nothing like her off the court and what she's brought to the game. And it starts with her on the court, though. To be honest with you, even in the NBA right now, we don't care about dunks no more. We want to see you shoot like Steph Curry in this 3-ball, sir. We don't care about you. We don't care about that no more. Caitlin Clark is really the WNBA Steph Curry, and people come to see her shoot from the logo and shoot these long threes. That is the excitement, and that's what she brought, and she was doing that at Iowa in college, and it transferred to the WNBA, and she brought all that excitement. And what she's doing for him, man, you know, kudos to her because obviously it's because of her play. But what she's doing for this WNBA, man, off the basketball court and raising awareness for all these other girls, she's finna get them all some money, man. You know, and I'm not saying they're not good, but the attention that she's bringing to the WNBA is going to get them a lot of money.
Perfect storm. Social media, everything is instant. She had an opponent that was able to garner the attention with her and Angel Reese when they played LSU. If they don't have that confrontation, you can't see me, does it ever get this big? And then they played the following year in the tournament. And I believe they set that up probably purposely, but when they had that, it just started to snowball.
Let me ask y'all this, because I am younger than y'all here at the desk, so I didn't really get to see the firestorm that was Tiger Woods. in its peak powers, right? I didn't get to see, and not that I didn't see it later on, I'm just suggesting that I didn't see Tiger continue to build. I was focused on other things. Serena Williams. I caught Serena Williams toward the tail end of her career. I didn't get to see it y'all saw. Y'all got to live it quite literally in real time. Where do you put what Caitlin has done to women's basketball in comparison to what Tiger did in golf, what Serena did in tennis? Like, where do y'all put, because you, the elder statesman, James, you an older statesman, where do y'all put what Caitlin did in comparison to what Tiger did?
You have to put it right up there with it. And because where I come from, we ain't watching no golf. We ain't playing no golf. Not where I come from. Tiger started playing golf.
Everybody out there.
I'm gonna watch it now. Because you hadn't seen African-American men play golf. So then when you see one play and they're doing very well, we started watching it. Same thing with tennis. Oh, we've seen a lot of white women play basketball, and I watched it. I'll watch it more now. It's just something about her. I don't know what it is. It's like, one, you have to be a good player. You can't be a bum, and you have to be a really good player. And she's a good player. She's not backing down. And that could be what it is. She's not backing down. You talking trash, then she give you buckets. And I think that plays a part. Iowa? When did Iowa become a basketball power? They became a basketball power because of Caitlin Clark. And so to me, you have to win at a high level. And you have to play at an even higher level, and that's what she did.
I think you put it at number one. With all credit due to Serena, Serena was phenomenal, brought a lot of eyes to tennis.
Ooh.
The best women's tennis player, in my humble opinion. Tiger Woods brought a lot of eyes to golf. But if you truly just sit back and you look at what Caitlin Clark is doing right now for the WNBA. Acho, you know I travel a lot, flying back and forth. All right? I done been on a lot of Southwest flights. All right, a lot of Southwest flights, a lot of Delta flights, a lot of flights, right? Whatever airline get me out. And I seen a lot of them WNBA teams on them flights, waiting, layover with me. Now they charter. Don't even gotta check no bags, go to the back. Like Caitlin Clark brought that for them. Caitlin Clark, all these viewerships and all. Caitlin Clark, you just read the numbers. Caitlin Clark is bringing. I think what Caitlin Clark is doing right now for the WNBA, I don't think we've ever seen that. I think she's doing more than Tiger did for golf, and I think she's doing more than Serena did for tennis, and she's still real young.
Yeah. Hey, well, speaking of something we've never seen before, you've never seen an athlete like Kevin Durant on the basketball court. You're talking about a 7-footer that has handles and got a jump shot like nobody's business. Kevin Durant, he responded to something fascinating on social media. I wanted y'all to take a look at it. There was a picture that was posted of Kevin Durant along with the likes of Michael Jordan, and it was Kobe Bryant, it was Tim Duncan, it was Shaquille O'Neal, it was LeBron James, and somebody said, who comes off the bench? That's an illustrious list. That's a phenomenal question. KD said, heck, I'll see your question with a statement. None of them can guard me. How about that? Didn't necessarily say who comes off the bench, but he did say none of them can guard him. James Jones, you agree with KD's response?
I see no lies. I see no lies. None of them can guard me. How about that? I see no lies. Come on, man. KD is like that. And argue with your mama, but somebody got to come off. Somebody got to come off the bench, and it ain't KD. KD is one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen play the game of basketball. A 7-footer that could dribble, a 7-footer that could shoot the three, a 7-footer that could shoot the mid-range, a 7-footer that could take you off the dribble. One of them dudes coming off the bench, and it ain't KD, and he's right. Mike can't deal with him, and they might be able to stop him every now and then, but deal with KD a whole game. Bron ain't dealing with him. Kobe ain't dealing with him. He has too much in his bag offensively to deal with KD. I 100% agree with KD. And if it was up to me, because I know how humble Tim Duncan is, because I remember they asked Tim Duncan, hey, man, they asked him a similar question. Kobe, Mike, Bron, you, who you benching? He said, myself. So with him being humble, I'm going to say, hey, man, Tim Duncan come off the bench.
I 83.3% agree with KD because 5 out of them 6 can't guard him. LeBron in LeBron's heyday could guard KD. I think only, but to your point, guard, hold him to 27 points.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? What's guard really
there
mean?
You go.
Shaq obviously can't guard him. Kobe too short to guard him. Tim Duncan too slow to guard him. Jordan too short to guard him. But LeBron has the stature, has the athleticism. But I would say this, correct me if I'm wrong, I only think 3 individuals since the turn of the century can guard KD. Kevin Garnett, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think LeBron from like 2007 to 2016. If LeBron isn't tasked with putting up 40 points offensively, if LeBron got to do that.
What's guard? Like,
correct.
Hold him to 20?
Make it tough.
Make it tough on him.
Okay.
Make it tough on him. Man. Make him shoot under 40% from the field and make him score 27 points or less. Like, that's what guarding is to me. I think LeBron, in his heyday, not having to do much offensively, the only person on the list who probably could have. You agree?
This is why KD is special, man. Like, how many players of his stature are going to say what he said and put this out for the world to see? None of them can guard me. How about that? He ain't lying, but, like, this dude's one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen. They're not replying to this list. They wouldn't reply to it. The fact that he did that and we can have this discussion just makes it so cool. Like, but what people got to understand, when you are an athlete, if you don't think like this,
that's fair.
You in trouble.
That's fair. But let me ask you this. Is KD the one that's responding to it because not that a hit dog hollers in the sense that if you get hit by something, you'll respond, but Kobe don't got to respond. Yeah. Kobe got 4 chips. Kobe's a top 10 player of all time. Shaq doesn't have to respond. Shaq has 4 chips. Shaq's a top 10 player of all time. Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant, he wouldn't have responded. His resume speaks for itself. LeBron James is a top 2 player of all time. He ain't got to respond. Jordan is Jordan. Jordan looks down upon everybody. He ain't got to respond. Well, Tim Duncan got 5 chips. He's a top 10 player of all time. Is it that KD is... Obviously, KD is just fun. He's fun on social media. He's come at me several times. I take nothing by it. It's just fun. It's funny to me. But is it the aspect of he has the least secure resume, too? So you almost have to... You don't have to respond, but you got the least secure resume. So not that there's insecurity with that, but the others don't have to respond.
I believe because all those players that you just named all have at least 4 championships. Mm-hmm. KD obviously only has 2. So he feels like, okay, yeah, the only way that I can legitimize myself with this group, none of them can stop me. Not one of them, because of the championship.
Yeah. But to the other point that James made that I didn't disagree with verbally, but in my head I kind of did, realistically speaking, none of them have to respond because KD's probably the one coming off the bench. We say it in jest, but like Tim Duncan and his 5 championships and his MVPs, he ain't coming off the bench. Shaq starting at the 5, he not coming off the bench. Jordan, he's obviously not coming off the bench. LeBron James is running point. He's the ball handler on there, so he not coming off the bench. So you telling me Kobe coming off the bench, James Jones? So KD almost has to respond because he's the one that likely would come off the bench.
I wouldn't have him come off the bench if I'm the coach. Nah. If I'm coaching that team, he's starting.
Come on, man.
So who's coming off the bench?
Tim Duncan is coming off the bench. I've told you that. I told you that. Tim Duncan is... Man, listen, we talk... Because he said none of them can guard me. How about that?
He moved the conversation.
That's what I'm saying. But we all know as an athlete, respect is everything, dog. And you ain't going to sit up here and say, they disrespected me with all these greats, right? You know, you can't say that.
But you know what you know what it is, James, and you've gotten in arguments, whether it's with your significant other, with your kids, and you know when you argue with your kid or maybe even your wife about something, and they got to move the conversation because they would know they're going to lose the conversation.
Man, we married. That happened all the time.
But my thing is if we are talking about just great players on that basketball court and you are taking out the championships, you can't put Tim Duncan in there in front of
Tim Duncan's a better player than Kevin Durant. Come on.
No, James. He is not. Emmanuel Acho.
James, he won
first and last?
He won 5 championships. He has his own MVPs. He has defensive all-NBA teams. And not only that, I can't forget the championships. You play to win championships. But it's like this. He won it with different iterations. Remember, he won a championship in '99 when it was him and David Robinson.
What does Tim Duncan do on the basketball court better?
Everything in the post. Everything in the post. His post game is from top to bottom. Everything he does in the post is better than Kevin Durant.
You have not seen Kevin Durant get that ball on the block and go to work?
You've forgotten how great Tim Duncan is.
So you basically telling me with the ball in his hands, under the three-point line, Tim Duncan's a better scorer than KD?
Within 12 feet. Within 12 to 14 feet. Not at 20, not at 22 feet.
Emmanuel Acho, in 50 years since Michael Jordan has had all them scoring titles, it's only one person that has had as many as him.
James, I think you're forgetting how great
I think
Duncan
you
is.
are forgetting how great
James,
Kevin
5
Durant
championships.
is. I understand.
Over the
Championship,
course
you got
of 20
me.
years.
Hey, championships,
with
I go
different players.
Championships, I go like this.
That's why you play the game now, sir.
Championships, I go like this.
And he wasn't like he wasn't riding
plenty of people
coattails.
with more championships than KD, and you gonna take KD.
I like
when
KD
you talk
also.
about
I do.
a basketball
I do.
talent.
You know Tim Duncan has MVPs too, right?
I understand nobody's saying Tim Duncan is not a great. All I'm saying is Tim Duncan does not have what KD
No,
has.
not as a skill set, and vice versa, though. Can we not also suggest that
What
vice
do you
versa?
mean vice versa?
Meaning remember, from about 2000 to 2009, if you gave Tim Duncan, and I'm a Mavericks fan, so Tim Duncan scarred my life. If you gave Tim Duncan the ball on the block, it was an automatic bucket, or is double teamed, it's kicked out to Manu, it's kicked out to Tony. If you gave Tim Duncan the ball on the block from about 2000 to 2009, automatic
All
bucket.
that sound cool. As an offensive player, who you taking, Acho?
Kevin Durant.
So what we talking about?
Because the game of basketball is more than just offense. That's what we talking about.
So KD don't
Tim
play
Duncan-
defense now.
Tim Duncan played defense at a significantly higher rate and was acknowledged as being a better defensive player than Kevin Durant. I don't have it off the top of my head. Matt, how many All-NBA defensive teams for Tim Duncan, sir?
Tim Duncan was
how
one
many,
of the-
sir? 15, you
Acho,
said.
so let me-
15 all-defensive
so
teams?
let me do this.
15 all...
Hold on.
Wait, hold on. No, sir. How
you-
many for Kevin Durant, please, sir? Oh, wait. We have time. Oh, wait. Don't worry. It's a 2-hour show. I have a little bit.
Come on. I'm going to wait, too, because I'm about to talk to him. Come on.
That's 0, right? Okay, 0. So
Okay.
15 all-defensive teams to 0 all-defensive teams. This is the problem with this generation, and y'all are included now in this generation, but you're omitted because James is doing too much talking, is you get so enamored with the now that you have forgotten the then. 15 all-defensive teams, 5 championships, first-team All-NBAs, countless, several All-Stars, and you want to tell
it's
me that Kevin
probably-
Durant is better than Tim
But
Duncan?
it's probably other people, Acho, that you can say that has championships, that got all defensive teams, all that.
15 of
And
them,
you, hold on,
James?
and you are going to take Kevin
Hey.
Durant. This is my last thing with it, right?
Thank God it's your last
Okay,
thing
so
with it.
let's just say me.
15.
No. Let's just say me, you, TJ, we out there, all right? And this is our squad, bunch of bums. We ain't no good.
Yes, sir.
All right? We need one more player, all right, to take us there. Are you taking Tim Duncan or are you taking Kevin Durant when you need somebody to carry a team with no talent around them? Because that's truly the better player. With all them defensive teams and all that, who you taking, Acho?
If we're in Venice Beach and you're not playing, you're
Acho,
take Kevin Durant.
don't do what KD doing now, flipping the
If
question.
we're in Venice Beach,
Acho, if your team is sorry.
in the NBA, I'm taking Tim Duncan. Because in 1999, Tim Duncan won a chip after leaving Wake, and then Tim Duncan won another chip in like 2005, and then 2007. Then he stopped the Heatles, sir, in case you... LeBron, beat him. Bosh, beat him. Dwayne Wade, beat him. Come on, James.
I don't call you a liar too much, but you lying.
It's not even comparable.
You are going to... If your
It's
team
15
is
all
terrible...
defensive teams.
I understand that. Cool. All right? You
just said cool.
You're
You said it like it's nothing.
You're a better defender than him. Cool. All right? I give you that. You're a better defender than him, which I still, even with all them defensive teams, I'm still would take KD.
James, I got to interrupt both of us. We got a blockbuster trade in the NFL.
Oh.
Breaking news. Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the Steelers. Jalen Ramsey, future first ballot Hall of Famer for my money, 3-time All-Pro, one of the best cornerbacks in all of football, has been traded to the Steelers. The Steelers made blockbuster moves. Aaron Rodgers, now Jalen Ramsey. That defense, it should be set. That was a position of need, and they got the need at that position. Jalen Ramsey, Super Bowl champ, $100 million cornerback, and he is on the move. We will talk about that shortly.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Breaking news in the NFL, 3-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler Jalen Ramsey on the move, traded from the Miami Dolphins to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are updating you all in real time. We are trying to get details of the trade, but want to bring y'all on camera for this conversation. Obviously, you got a lot of NFL experience up here, over a quarter-decade of it, over a quarter-century of it. James Jones, instant reaction, Jalen Ramsey to the Steelers.
Ooh-wee. they building that defense. They getting that defense back to top notch. We all know that was a big problem for them last year, especially late in the year when Russell Wilson was scoring some points. The defense was giving up a whole lot of points, and I'm talking about 30-plus points. Now you add Slay. You add Jalen Ramsey, all ready to go with Minka and Queen. Hey, listen here. This is a move that I'm like, they are trying to get back to playing that defense and helping their offense out. And Aaron Rodgers, I absolutely love the move because you get a guy that's physical, that can tackle, and he can travel, and he can move inside. Jalen Ramsey, this is a heck of a pickup for the Steelers.
Here's what I love. Here's what I love about this move is Steelers, you know your identity, get back to your identity.
Yep.
Mike Tomlin, your identity has always been defense. Make sure the defense is stout. I think JPJ, he's going to start on the outside. Darius Slay, he's going to start on the outside. Jalen Ramsey, one of the most versatile corners of this generation, put him in the slot. So now you got JPJ, you got Ramsey, you got Darius Slay. At safety, you got Minka Fitzpatrick. You just re-signed Deshaun Elliott. You're stout there. At linebacker, you got Patrick Queen, an all-pro just 2 years ago. Now at the opposite linebacker, I either need Wilson to step up. Primarily, I need Wilson to step up. Defensive line, so long as you get T.J. Watt there, you're set there. Cam Hayward, he's coming off an all-pro season. Then you drafted a first-round pick just this year at defensive line as well. Make sure you take care of home. And what home is for the Steelers is the defense. I do not care what Aaron Rodgers does. I do not care what DK Metcalf does. I do not care what the running back Warren does, so long as the defense is not good. If the defense is good, I'll care about everything else. But Mike Tomlin, at minimum, you're a defensive coach. Make sure the defense is stout. And now you could suggest, at least names on paper and talent-wise, this is one of the best defenses in all of football.
It's a big move, huge move. Now, you said get back to their identity, and that's defense. I believe that's a problem. This is an offensive league. The reason the Steelers are in the position they're in is they're not good on offense. They haven't been good on offense since Ben Roethlisberger retired. They've been really good on defense. And Jalen Ramsey, does it help them? Absolutely it helps them. Like, I would rather have Jalen Ramsey than not have him.
Yep.
But is it really going to make us a better team? Are we going to be better offensively? No. Like, and Aaron Rodgers accepting what he accepted pay-wise, they're able to do this, but their identity has always been defense. Like, you got to go get players on offense. Defense is never your problem. It's offense.
It was last year, though.
Offense was their problem last year. More than their defense. Offense.
What about the end of the season, though?
Russ came in, they was
at the end of the season, offensively, but we knew the backstretch of the season was going to be tough for the Steelers with that schedule. And that's what happened. It's going to be the same thing this year. They're going to always play great defense, with or without Jalen Ramsey. Can they score enough points? And they can't. And so I like the move.
Only thing a little pushback on there is we've been on some talented offenses. And when you're on a talented offense and you can score points, that's harder on the defense. I truly believe, not taking nothing away from these Pittsburgh Steelers defenses because they were good, but I truly believe when your offense is not scoring like that, it makes it easier on your defense. And Nacho, you could chime in if I'm wrong here, but it makes it easier because now they're not breaking the huddle like we got to throw the ball all over the yard and score a bunch of points. Now we can run it. We can hand it off on third. It makes it easier on the defense. When Russ came in the game last year, Russ was scoring at a high clip. And now the other team's mindset is we got to score, and they were throwing the ball all over the yard. And because they knew they had to score because Russell Wilson was going to score, and the defense did not do that well last year. This is huge because, number one, you said it right, T. This is an offensive league, a passing league. If we can't guard the pass, we in trouble. T.J. Watt is not going to get home every time. They're going to double-team him and make sure he don't wreck the game. You got to have dudes out there that can cover. And to be honest with you, that's why I don't like Ramsey in the slot. These big-time receivers, they on the outside. Put the young boy in the slot, leave Slay and leave Ramsey on the outside, because what if you do have to travel? You don't want the young boy traveling when you want Ramsey.
But here's the other reason, though, I like it. Because at the end of the day, what I've learned about defense is just acquire talented pieces and then let the defensive mind figure out how you want to play the pieces.
There you go.
Because to T's point, now I can come out there on defense. I can come out there with just one linebacker. Let me come out there with Patrick Queen, especially against a pass-happy team like the Cincinnati Bengals. Pass-happy team, Patrick Queen. I'm going to keep Jalen Ramsey in there as a dime. I'm going to put that Eccles or Beanie Bishop at the nickel.
Yeah,
I'm going to put JPJ out there on the outside. I'm going to put Slay out the outside. I'm going to have Minka Fitzpatrick out there, and then I'm going to have Deshaun Elliott out there. And then I'm going to have my pass rushers out there hunting in Highsmith and TJ Watt and Hayward and my first-round pick. And now all of a sudden, I'm just given a bunch of tools, and I can use the tools however necessary. If this is a week where CeeDee Lamb is in the slot, Ramsey, you're in the slot.
True.
If this is a week where you're going up against Jamar Chase and you know he's going to be on the outside, Ramsey, you can be on the outside. If you're going up against A.J. Brown and you know A.J. Brown and Smitty are stationary, okay, Ramsey, you stay on the outside. But there's enough versatility in the NFL, particularly when you're talking about receivers in the AFC, where just having Ramsey and being able to utilize Ramsey however you want to utilize Ramsey, it's having another queen on the chessboard, and those queens, y'all know they can move anywhere, as opposed to having different pieces on the chessboard that are stationary. Because, James, as you look at the landscape of the NFL, there are receivers that stay on the outside. But you do have different dominant receivers, whether it's the Cooper Kupp,
Justin Jefferson
the Justin Jeffersons. Yeah. You do have dominant receivers that do move inside the slot. This is a great conversation to have now, especially uniquely with 20 experience at NFL wide receiver to my left and to my right. How does the acquisition of Jalen Ramsey help them against the Bengals? Because that's who you have to stop first in your division. How does it help them against the Chiefs? Remember, Rashid Rice, he'd be in the slot. How does it help them against the opponents they have to defeat imminently?
Jalen Ramsey is a great player. It's going to help. Obviously, playing the Bengals, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Even playing the Ravens, I believe the Ravens kind of morphed into more of a passing team last year than they've ever have, playing the Chiefs. But Jalen Ramsey is so – it don't matter what team he goes to. He's going to help you. But y'all know the Steelers was 27th in passing last year.
I know that.
27th. 16th in scoring. Every offensive category – they were in the bottom half of the league. They were 8th in defense last year. 8. That one top 10 defense.
Yeah.
Always a top 10 defense. Always. Offense is the problem for the Steelers, not defense. Offense is the problem. This is an offensive league. Like, I like the move.
Is that totally
but I would like it a lot better if it was a better receiver for Aaron Rodgers. And I'm sure he would like it also. You could put DK with another. DK with George Pickens sound real good if they didn't trade him. I like that better than having Ramsey.
It is interesting because to T's point, the Steelers didn't need to make this move. That's what it's a little head-scratching. I love Jalen Ramsey as a football player. But when I think about it, you acquired Darius Slay this offseason to go opposite JPJ. You acquired Bryson Eccles from the Jets. He plays in the slot. You still got Bishop there. You just re-signed Deshaun Elliott. So I'm like, would they move Ramsey to safety? You got 2 safeties, relatively young enough safeties. You got 2 corners. It's not like Ramsey's a young player.
Yeah.
So though it is, I like the move, to T's point, Jay, it's almost an unnecessary.
I don't think so, because I think you had a really good point. A lot of defenses play dime. You're going to be in dime because it's a passing league.
What's dime for the viewers?
It's not too many Derrick Henrys running down here. Dime is when you got 5 DBs in the game, 6 DBs in the game.
One
right?
linebacker.
That's dime. You got 1 linebacker, you got 6 DBs in the game. Jalen Ramsey is a phenomenal cover corner. Everybody knows that. But what we don't know is he's a phenomenal tackler.
Hold on, James. We got more breaking news.
Oh, my God.
What they're doing is they're trading Minka Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins. So it's a player.
No,
it's a player
you
for player
serious?
trade. Yeah, I think.
Minka going back to Miami. They got rid of him, brought him back.
No, this
So
ain't good.
Minka Fitzpatrick was drafted, if I'm not mistaken, by the Miami Dolphins. I would guess, I think in about 2016.
No.
Yeah, with Brian Flores. Yeah.
First round pick in 2018
So he's
out of
going to
Alabama.
safety.
He was the cornerback, Minka Fitzpatrick, for the Dolphins. Minka Fitzpatrick, he moves early in his career to safety. People suggest he didn't have the hips to play at corner. The Steelers acquired Minka Fitzpatrick about 3 years ago in the middle of the season, had a dominant run with the Steelers, and now Minka Fitzpatrick is going back to the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Ramsey, who notably in public he wanted out of the Miami Dolphins, is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This changes everything.
So,
the entire conversation we just had completely changed. Let's go to commercial break. Let's come back from commercial break. Y'all got to give us a second to collect our thoughts. This changes absolutely everything we just said. Disregard it. Listen to what we're about to say, because this changes everything. Player for player trade. That changes. I think Jalen Ramsey goes to safety.
That's very rare.
I think Jalen Ramsey goes to safety. Okay, update on the breaking news like we told y'all. We needed a moment to gather ourselves, gather our thoughts, and actually look into some more of the breaking news. Jalen Ramsey headed to the Steelers from the Miami Dolphins. Minkah Fitzpatrick headed from the Steelers back to the team that drafted him in 2018, the Miami Dolphins. James, now that you have gotten updated on the move and it's no longer an addition to the riches of the secondary in Pittsburgh, now it's a player-for-player swap. How does that change how you feel about it? What's your reaction?
I don't like it, man. I do not like it no more, man. You traded one of the best safeties in football for a guy that I'm assuming if you make this move, you're moving him to safety because you have a first-rounder at corner and you just signed Slay. We do not know what Jalen Ramsey is going to look like at safety. Jalen Ramsey is a phenomenal football player. He probably can make the transition. But you just traded him for one of the baddest men in the National Football League at safety in Minkah Fitzpatrick. I absolutely do not like the move. I was excited when I thought they were going to be on the same defense. To be honest with you, I think this Steelers defense just got worse losing Minkah Fitzpatrick. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a heck of a football player at the safety spot. I hope Jalen Ramsey turns out to be like that, but I don't like this move. I don't like it. I don't like it as a head-up trade because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers just got worse on defense. I really, really do. I really do. I don't like it. I'm not excited.
I don't like it nearly as much. What I know right now is, though Jalen Ramsey, I believe, is a better defensive back than Minkah Fitzpatrick is a defensive back. Mind you, it's close. Both of them are incredible players. Minkah Fitzpatrick, a three-time All-Pro. Jalen Ramsey, a three-time All-Pro. I think Minkah's a better safety right now than Ramsey.
Yes.
So if you're going to move Ramsey to safety, I think Minkah's a better safety. I think Jalen Ramsey's an incredibly physical corner. I think Minkah's a physical safety. I think Minkah's a physical player. Jalen Ramsey, I believe, is a better cover player, hence why he played corner.
No doubt.
But Minkah is an enforcer back there. Now, Deshaun Elliott is physical at safety. That's the starting safety for the Steelers. So he can be the down safety. He can be the strong safety. Let Jalen Ramsey roam and be the free safety. But here's the other dilemma. Jalen Ramsey's weakness, if he were to have one, he don't get his hands on the ball a lot for how good he is at corner. It's not like Jalen Ramsey is a 10-interception guy like Trayvon Diggs shown us to be. So Minkah Fitzpatrick, mind you, has a 6-interception season, a 5-interception season, a 5-interception season. Even in college, one of the knocks on Jalen Ramsey, if you were to suggest, I remember talking to a scout one day, he was suggesting they wanted to draft Ezekiel Elliott instead of Jalen Ramsey, right? This was an individual who was like, give us Zeke instead of Ramsey. He was like, I don't want a corner who don't get picks. Shout out to corners who are lockdown cover corners, but he was like, I don't want a corner who don't get picks. Don't get picks, obviously, is subjective. So it's interesting to me that you would move off of a 3-time All-Pro Minkah Fitzpatrick in just 6 years in Pittsburgh for Jalen Ramsey. T, I'm going to need a comment.
For me, when you trade a safety for a corner and you're going to move this corner to safety, you're projecting. We're hoping that Jalen Ramsey can play as good as Minkah Fitzpatrick did at safety. But it's a passing league, y'all. This is a passing league. And so Minkah may get more interceptions. But in a passing league, who do I believe is going to stop the pass more? Minkah Fitzpatrick or Jalen Ramsey? I'm taking Jalen Ramsey. I don't care that he hasn't played at safety. Because athletes, we figure things out. He's gonna figure that out. He's going to figure that out.
I can't agree with you, T.
I can't either, T.
And that's why when they play these games, you're gonna be like, oh, okay. He's going to figure this out. He's a great player. Great players figure things out.
Ramsey is a good enough, he's an elite player, so he will figure it out. But my thing is, Minkah had already figured it out. Remember, Minkah had to do in Pittsburgh what Ramsey now has to do in Pittsburgh 6 years ago. Minkah's first year, people would have suggested he was a bust, right? He didn't have a very good season. He goes to Pittsburgh, instantly an All-Pro. Gets traded in the middle of the season from Miami to Pittsburgh in 2019, instantly becomes an All-Pro. Has 5 interceptions that year. 2 years later, 5 interceptions again. All-Pro. 3 years later, 6 interceptions. Leads the whole NFL All-Pro. To move off of, I think Minkah's a top 3 safety in the NFL right now.
Yes.
So to move off
Probably
of a top 3 safety for an unknown at safety. Now, Ramsey is a top corner of the generation, but to move off of a top 3 safety, Jay, it's just risky at minimum. Also, breaking news-ish, Jonnu Smith was also acquired in the trade, Pro Bowl tight end from the Miami Dolphins. So it's going to be Jalen Ramsey plus Jonnu Smith. So they do get some offensive help. I want you to weigh in on that momentarily. But, James, your thought?
Are we for sure he going to safety? Because I don't know if it's for sure.
Or is Slay going to safety?
Because that don't make no. But listen to me though, Mr. Defense, all right? Because you're the lone defender over here. Make it make sense to me though. 28 years old, Minka, all-pro safety that's been doing this. Jalen Ramsey, 30 years old, all-pro corner, never played safety. So why would we trade him for him and put him at safety? He's younger and he's better because we ain't seen Jalen Ramsey play safety. We wouldn't do that. That wouldn't make sense. Is there a safety on the roster behind that they like, hey, now we can still play dime, put this other safety in and leave Jalen at corner? Because that don't make no sense to me right now.
Jalen would have to be the starter at safety right now in my mind because you have two corners that are legit dudes. You have Joey Porter Jr., you drafted him 3 years ago. You have Darius Slay, an all-pro corner, so they're not moving. Like, it makes no sense for them to move. If you're trading the safety, it only makes sense that Ramsey play the safety. The only way I can make it make sense is, number one, is Fitzpatrick, from a cover perspective last year, you could say he's not coming off a great season.
Not good at all.
It's been 2 years since he's had an all-pro caliber season. So if you wanted to say from a coverage perspective, he hasn't been great. You already have a physical enforcer in Deshaun Elliott at safety. Now you have an elite range coverage 4-4 running safety in Jalen Ramsey. He's physical enough. And then also you get Jonnu Smith. You get a tight end to help out that offense. To T's point this whole time, they need offensive help. I would suggest maybe that also is what tilts the ledger, is you get offensive help.
The Steelers have been trying to trade for Jonnu Smith for the last 6 weeks. As you hear the report, they're trying to get Jonnu Smith. And so I guess this is their way of getting him.
Here go the two tight ends.
This is what Arthur Smith likes to do. Yeah. This is what he likes to do. This is how he wants to play his offense.
Aaron likes to do, too.
Okay, so now you have Pat Freiermuth, and you have Jonnu Smith, you have DK, and whoever's opposite DK. And if this is how they want to play football, and this is what Aaron Rodgers likes, and this is where he's at his best, I like this. Because offensively is where the problem is. But going back to Jalen Ramsey and the defense side of the ball, I brought up Darius Slay because if you hear Darius Slay talk, he'll tell you he admires Rod Woodson.
Yeah.
And Rod Woodson is a guy that obviously played for the Steelers, Hall of Fame player, one of the greatest players ever played. Started as a corner and then gradually moved to safety and was great at both. And Darius Slay has said that's what he wants to do.
Slay is my dog, so I'm going to caution my words because that's really my dog. Darius Slay is not physically built to play safety. And I don't think Darius Slay thus far has a mentality to play safety in this day and age of where the NFL gives so much favor to the receivers, and y'all can do so much. Offensive linemen, remember, offensive linemen can pull now. Back in the day, defensive backs could go low. Yeah. Just cut the knees out of offensive linemen. Now offensive linemen can pull as of 3 years ago, and if the defender goes low, it's a penalty. So now you just got to sit there and take it.
Get ran over, huh?
Exactly right. Like, Slade doesn't play right now, nor should he. I mean, he's 32, I think, maybe 31, 33. He doesn't play with the physicality that Steelers safeties historically play with. Could Slade go back there and just roam? But he doesn't play with the physicality. I think Ramsey has to play it. For a moment, let's talk about Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith was 4th in receiving yards of all tight ends last year. Pro Bowl tight end last year. 884 receiving yards last year. You know Aaron Rodgers better than anybody. How much does this help the Steelers' offense?
I think it's huge for the Steelers offensively because when I was in Green Bay with Aaron, one of our favorite personnels was 12 personnel. When we
what is 12 personnel?
12 personnel is 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 1 running back in the backfield. And you can run the ball out of that because you got 2 good blocking tight ends, and you can pass out of that because you got 2 good pass-catching tight ends in Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth now. And you can still widen them out, and you can put them in the slot and let them run routes. I like this because in Green Bay, even though we had a lot of receivers, 12 personnel was one of our best personnels. We had Jermichael Finley at the time, who was a really good tight end, and we had another really good tight end that could block. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. And you had Greg Jennings and Donald Driver out there at the wide receivers. A lot of play-action pass off of it, and you had Eddie Lacy. We could run the air out of the football. So I love this move offensively for Aaron Rodgers and what they like to do offensively. But for me, it still comes down to if Aaron Rodgers and his offense scores points.
Let me take us to break for a moment. When we return, the Steelers are making legitimate moves. You just got an all-pro caliber defensive back in Jalen Ramsey, and they just got a Pro Bowl number 4 in receiving yards tight end. Steelers are obviously trying to go all in for Aaron Rodgers to make a Super Bowl push in what Aaron Rodgers has stated is his last year in the National Football League. Are the Steelers Super Bowl good? They're trying to build up a roster that is. We'll address that conversation after the break. An absolute chaotic day in the world of sports. The Pittsburgh Steelers acquired Aaron Rodgers about 2 weeks ago, and now they are going all in. Traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, their all-pro, for the Miami Dolphins all-pro that is Jalen Ramsey. Mike Tomlin said that's not it. I want tight end Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith, 4th in receiving yards last year, ahead of the likes of Travis Kelce at tight end. James Jones, you won the only Super Bowl Aaron Rodgers has ever won. You know the path for Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl. So nobody better suited to answer this question on national television than the one I'm about to ask you right now. Are the Steelers finally legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
Oh, my goodness, I do. Oh, my goodness, that's the question. I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say yeah. I think these two pieces solidify what the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to do, defensively and offensively. Yes, it's a passing league. We need a guy that can cover. Offensively, 12 personnel. Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal in 12 personnel. 2 tight ends, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers. Now, what that 12 personnel allows the Pittsburgh Steelers to do is the defense cannot play you in nickel. And nickel is 5 DBs on the football field, because if there's 5 DBs on the football field, that means they are going to run the air out of the football, because now you have tight ends and tackles blocking corners, blocking the small guys, and that is going to be very, very hard for a defense to stop the run. So you have to bring in another linebacker. When you bring in another linebacker, now you have the linebackers guarding your 2 good tight ends in Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith, and Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best throwers of the football in the National Football League. So it suits them on offense. And then we all know it's a passing league. You get Jalen Ramsey in there, who's a better cover corner, who's a better cover player than Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think this is 2 really good moves that puts them in that championship conversation, man, with Aaron Rodgers and these moves.
This is the best news for Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I'm going to say a lot. Hopefully everybody can digest a lot. I do believe the Steelers are now Super Bowl contenders for several reasons. The biggest void offensively for the Steelers was at number 2 wide receiver. By acquiring Jonnu Smith, you no longer have to tend to that void, because instead of living in 10 or 11 personnel, like James said, you can live in 12 personnel. But I'll do you one even better. I believe an elite receiving tight end is more valuable than elite receiving receiver, because there are better cover cornerbacks than there are cover linebackers. So now if I'm in 12 personnel and I have Freiermuth and I have Jonnu Smith, a linebacker is on one of those tight ends and a safety is on the other tight end. Either way, advantage Jonnu Smith, because he can likely route up both safeties and he can route up linebackers, because it's hard to find great cover linebackers in the National Football League. The Steelers, they lived in 12 personnel, the 12th most in the NFL last year. Now, by acquiring Jonnu Smith, they'll live in 12 personnel even more. Then defensively, I believe the Steelers, they still have an assortment of riches, because in nickel personnel, then you'll put Jalen Ramsey in the slot. You can start Juan Thornhill and Deshaun Elliott at safety, Joey Porter Jr. on the outside, Darius Slay on the outside. In base personnel, when the opponent comes out in their own 12 personnel package, now move Jalen Ramsey back to safety with Deshaun Elliott. He can be at down safety. JPJ, Joey Porter Jr., and Darius Slay on the outside. So either way, you're maximizing Jalen Ramsey's impact on the defense. And with Jonnu Smith, the place you were weak on offense now becomes strong, and you can manipulate most other NFL defenses, because if you have Jonnu Smith, if we want to play cover 3, and we want to rotate a down safety, then Jonnu Smith, just find a way to eat on a hook curl defender. If we want to play cover 1, then we got to have 1 linebacker's in the hole, 1 linebacker's on a tight end. In the hole just means you're reading the quarterback's eyes. The other safety's on the other tight end. Jonnu Smith, go to work. You had more receiving yards than Travis Kelce last year, nearly 900 of them. I think the Steelers actually somehow just became Super Bowl contenders.
Man, I'd say the 2 men to my left, a little stretching it. They're better. They're better. They're better today than they were yesterday.
Yes, significantly.
Are they Super Bowl contenders? I can't say just because they acquired Jonnu Smith offensively that makes them a Super Bowl contender. If we said...
We're talking Ramsey.
But offensively, for me, is where they need to improve. If we said the Steelers had Jonnu Smith I wouldn't say that puts them over the hump. If they acquired a T.J. Hawkinson, a Sam Laporta, a George Kittle, a McBride, like nobody will never say that Jonnu Smith is one of the top tight ends. He's a good athletic tight end, but he's not just going to put their offense over the top. He's not going to do that. Does it make them better? Yeah. Does it make them Super Bowl contenders? Not in my eyes. They're going to always be good on defense. Ramsey's going to make them better. I'm a fan of Aaron Rodgers, so wherever he goes, I think he's going to do well. But Super Bowl contender? Nah.
But don't you think at least now, because for me, every team outside of the Philadelphia Eagles, I would suggest, has weaknesses.
Yes.
Now at least the Steelers are in the same conversation of weaknesses as everybody else. Beforehand, the Steelers had way more weaknesses. You have no number 2 playmaker on offense. You still don't have an explosive running game. Your offensive line is still suspect. So now the Steelers, I can't put you in the same conversation as the Chiefs' weaknesses. Chiefs have a questionable O-line. The Bengals' weaknesses. The Bengals, I still need to see more from the running back, and defensively, we know the defense is all in question. At least now the Steelers' weakness, I still need an explosive running back, and the offensive line is in question. Outside of that, you got a number 2 playmaker in Jonnu. You got a number 1 playmaker in DK. You got a quarterback who knows how to win a Super Bowl. You have a defense that is elite. Now the Steelers have the same amount of weaknesses as everybody else not named the Eagles. So that's why I'm saying, T, that's why I'm saying, Jay, now the Steelers are in the same conversation as everybody else. Yeah. Now, I would love a game-changing running back. I would love one, but at least now they're in the same conversation.
Aaron Rodgers is going to make that offensive line better. Yeah. Good quarterbacks make average offensive line. He's going to get rid of the ball because he knows what he's seeing. This is what people don't talk about a lot. Is Pat Freiermuth okay with now I'm going to be on quote-unquote the second tight end and not the first one? Is he going to be okay with that? Like, we're grown men. Like, I'm going through the whole offseason. I'm getting ready for training camp. I'm training. He probably on the field training right now. You think he's going to be okay with that? And so there has to be a lot of buy-in from your players also, because this can end bad. Like, this is a team. We all got to do our jobs. But I want to get paid also. I want to support my family also. And that's the mentality that guys have. And so it helps them. But I just can't say, oh, they acquired Jonnu Smith. They Super Bowl contenders. I can't say that.
I'm saying it because I believe it's the perfect fit for what they want to do. And if you can get into the perfect fit of really what you want to do offensively, I think that is going to help you. And I think this move right here with Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth, and you have DK that can run, you have Austin that can run, like, this screams the perfect fit for what they're trying to do offensively. And I believe with that, they will be better offensively, because you can put people in matchup problems with these 2 tight ends. We see the Niners do it all the time, and Juszczyk is a fullback. But when you have those 2 dudes on the field in Kittle and Juszczyk, now you can run and pass out of it.
They got a Shanahan calling them plays.
They don't. We know that. But what I'm saying is I think this is the formula of what they are trying to get to, and I think that is going to benefit. And then defense, you got better. You got to be able to guard and cover.
I like what the Steelers are doing. They trying.
They're trying.
I like that.
That's what I love.
As a player, when you're in that locker room,
correct,
you appreciate, like, They're going for it. I like that.
Yeah, and if you're acquiring Aaron Rodgers, at a minimum, if he said this is last year, give him a legitimate shot. And T, you said it best. The Steelers are better today than they were yesterday.
Yeah, they are.
And that's all you can ask for. Hey, when we return, Caitlin Clark, 1.3 million votes as an all-star getter. She has absolutely become the sensation of the sports world. But how long until she needs to win a title? We're going to talk about that for a moment. And don't worry, we will revisit the breaking news of the day, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. But for now, Caitlin Clark, how much pressure is she under? Heavy is the head that wears a crown, and Caitlin Clark is wearing all of the jewelry and the accessories as she sits on the throne as the biggest star in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, 1.3 million votes, leading all vote getters for the All-Star game. Remember, just 2 years ago, the leading vote getter in Asia Wilson got 95,000. But James, when you are a star of a nation, I believe you have to deliver, and you have to deliver soon. I think about Sha'Carri Richardson, as talented as she is. She went pro in 2019. It wasn't until 2023 that she finally had a world championship gold medal. Like, when you become a star, there's only a matter of time until you deliver. LeBron James, 2003 NBA draft, 2007, he finally goes to the NBA Finals. Like, it took him about 3-4 years. How long, James, until Caitlin Clark needs to win a title?
You know what? I was thinking between 4 to 5 years to get a title. But then again, as I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, Caitlin Clark ain't won a championship at no level.
Oh.
And I'm like, that changed my answer because 5, 10, 50, you just got to win one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care when it is. You just have to win one. Caitlin Clark is a special player, but when you talk championships and you talk about winning them, the Breanna Stewarts, the Diana Taurasi's, the Paige Beckers, the Angel Reeses, they have accomplished that. Ooh. But she has never accomplished that. So for me, I just want her to win one. I don't care if it's 5. I don't care if it's 10. I just want to see her get one accomplished. I don't want to put years on it because I haven't seen her win one yet. They are building a team around her that's pretty good. This Fever team is way better than they were last year. And they're going to have an opportunity to compete this year for a championship as well. But for Caitlin Clark, it's just about finally getting over that hump and winning a championship. And not even going to put years on it. She just has to accomplish it.
Wow. I'm going to say 4 to 5 years. When you're a great player, when you're in college, you got to recruit. And the best players aren't going to Iowa. You named a lot of girls, they all went to the same school, UConn. So they winning. Like, Cheryl Swoops and Maya Moore, they're anomalies. They won a WNBA championship in their first year. But Diana Taurasi, her 4th year. Asia Wilson, her 5th year. And so when you're a great player, I'm going to give her 4 to 5 years to win this championship. And I believe she can do it. The way that she is as a player, just win one, to me, when you have this type of promise, this type of game, it can't just be just win me one. You got to win me one within the first 4 to 5 years and be a contender every year after that because that's how good of a player she is.
Let me ask you very quickly, T. How long can Caitlin hold our attention without one? That's my fear. It's like, you're a great player, but if she's in a league and Paige starts to win them and Asia continues to get a couple more, like, how long can Caitlin hold our attention without one?
Hey, as long as she's still getting buckets and she's exciting, she gonna hold everybody's attention if she can continue to. But when she's playing like this, that team success is gonna have to come. And so, as long as she can put the ball in the hoop, she's gonna get our attention.
Well, speaking of getting our attention, not only did Caitlin Clark play a major role in getting the world's attention, but Angel Reese, you have my and the entire sports world's attention, I would hope, after yesterday's 24, 16, and 7 performance. She also set a league record for becoming the first player in the WNBA with 15 or more rebounds in 4 straight games, bringing us on camera because I have to be honest, I do not think we have given enough credit to Angel Reese. Not only over the last week and the last 2 weeks of the season, but also for the entirety of what she's also done for the rise of the WNBA. Now, let me start by saying this. Angel Reese, I love what she said post-game because she said at the beginning of the season, I was terrible. Incredible accountability. There is nothing greater in sports than an athlete that takes accountability. She said, I was terrible. She said, so it was my job to figure out how to get everybody else involved. She said the 7 assists were the most important thing to me, not the 16 rebounds, not the 24 points. It was also the 7 assists. But I want to suggest that Angel Reese has also played a part in the rise of the WNBA. Do I think she's played the same part of Caitlin Clark? Absolutely not. Yeah. Do I think that Angel Reese is as good as Caitlin Clark? No, I do not, but that's not necessarily the conversation we're having, nor the conversation I'm trying to have. The conversation I'm trying to have is someone had to play the role that Angel Reese has played in all of this. Every story needs an antagonist, it needs a protagonist. So some individuals, Angel Reese is the antagonist and Caitlin Clark is a protagonist. To some individuals, Angel Reese is a protagonist and Caitlin Clark is the antagonist. But every story, every movie you fell in love with, every book you've ever read, every soap opera or TV show you've ever watched, it has a villain and it has a hero. To some, Caitlin's a villain. To some, Caitlin's a hero. To some, Angel's a villain. To some, Angel's a hero. But regardless, Angel has to have played a role and has played a role in the rise of the W. Not the same, but this isn't a comparison game. This is simply stating a fact as well, but also what Angel has done as of late. 4 consecutive games, 15-plus rebounds, and not just the me-bounds that people are trying to say. 15-plus rebounds, 24, 16, and 7. After last night's performance, I did want to stop and take a moment and say, Angel has been balling, and salute to her as well. She's contributing.
And we got to give credit to Angel, too, because forget all the noise outside the basketball court and all that and who's more popular and all that type of stuff. The young woman is getting better. Mm-hmm. her basketball game is getting better. From last year to this point of time right now, she is a much better basketball player. We are watching her grow as a basketball player. But for me, I think she's getting all the credit she deserves. I think she's getting just what she deserves. To be honest with you, when you look at the WNBA, you say Caitlin Clark probably first if you ask just a random, and the next person probably going to be Angel Reese. It is still the Asia Wilsons out there, the Breanna Stewarts out there, the Inescus out there, the Kelsey Plums out there. It's still them that are better players than Angel Reese, but Angel Reese is going to get talked about first.
Yeah.
When you look at the WNBA, a lot of the highlights other than Caitlin Clark are going to be Angel Reese too because of the impact she's having on the basketball court and to the WNBA fans around the world. So I think she's getting the attention that she deserves and that she has earned, but it is a lot better basketball players in this point of their career in the WNBA, and she's getting talked about more than them because of how she's changing the game of basketball.
Before you go, Colvin, let's do Dawn Staley next. I'm feeling that conversation.
So,
Angel Reese.
When you get 20, if she can continue to put up 24, 16, and 7,
man,
she only talked about a lot. Yeah. You can go 24, 16, and 7. That's rare. That is rare. And has she received enough credit? I'll say no. But she gets a ton of credit. Yeah. And it's what you just said is 100% correct. It's Caitlin Clark, then Angel Reese, and everybody. Yeah. And so, but it's what Acho said. That rivalry that they had in college has now come into the WNBA, and it's great for both of them, and it's great for the entirety of the WNBA, but we want to see points. And that's what Caitlin Clark does. If she can continue to do what she did last night, she's going to get talked about a lot more.
Hey, after the break, the show gets even better. We had breaking news, but this conversation I got to hit. Dawn Staley rumored to become in the running for the coaching the NBA Knicks. Now, here's what's interesting. You're sitting here with a bunch of former athletes that are men, but could Dawn Staley, as a woman, actually coach a men's professional basketball NBA team? We're going to keep it raw. We're going to keep it honest. We're going to keep it authentic here in the facility. That's what it's for. After the break, Dawn Staley, as a woman, an incredible conversation coming up, and a very honest conversation. Dawn Staley, one of the greatest coaches in the history of women's college basketball, has been rumored obviously, to be in the running for the Knicks head coach. Dawn Staley, a three-time national champ, 4 national championship appearances, 7 Final Four appearances, 4-time coach of the year. But the conversation is simple, and we want to be honest here in the facility. We all played sports. We played in the NFL. I never had a head coach that was a woman in the NFL. I never had a woman that was on the coaching staff, had them on the training staff. Obviously, women have ascended into different coaching staffs in the NFL. But, James, when you're talking about being the head coach and Dawn Staley, who would be the first female head coach for an NBA team, would Dawn be a good fit for the Knicks? Because when I think about it, there's some nuances. Oftentimes, coaching isn't just about the X's and O's. Coaching for me is about how much can you get me to believe what you were saying from a motivational standpoint. And stature, more often than not, dictates belief. If I have a 6'2", 240 coach telling me, run through a mother sucker's face mask, that's different than when I've had a 5'6", scrawny head coach saying, run through a mother sucker's face mask.
Because if the 5'7" guy tell you, you run through him.
You run through him. Now, we have obviously seen some coaches, even in the NFL, the likes of the Bill Belichick and others, they have earned the right to have that stature reputational on that level. You know, Bill Belichick starts off as a defensive coordinator, DB coach, et cetera, and he earns his way up. But my concern wouldn't be from an X's and O standpoint. From an X's and O standpoint, Dawn Staley has proven to be absolutely genius, a basketball savant. Even from a motivational standpoint on the women's college basketball level, has proven to be absolutely genius. There is nobody better. But I'm curious, when you talk about from an NBA standpoint, you're no longer dealing with 6'2", 6'1", 6 foot, 6'4" women. You're now dealing with 7'2" individuals, men. I'm curious to see how a locker room would respond in that form or fashion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to see how it's going to work, too, because you're talking about a coach that has done it before. I think it's kind of tough in the National Football League. I know a lot of these women are coming up and being coaches, and they are learning the game and understanding the game, but I think it's a little different for the National Football League than basketball. Dawn Staley played the game of basketball at a very high level, and now she's coaching at a very high level. But for me, it's like Acho said, it's beyond the X's and O's. We have seen a lot of heated conversations with coaches getting in each other's face with their players and all that type of stuff. How would that interaction be if it's Dawn Staley and Jalen Brunson? And it could just be heated conversation. And they ain't got no disrespect, no nothing, just a heated. How would that be taken? I don't necessarily know how they would react to her being a head coach in the locker room and, her being able to motivate the guys. I don't know how that would look. I do know she has a very, very high IQ. I do know that she is a winner at every level, from being a player, professionally, college, all of that. She is a winner. So we know that. For me, it's just, I don't necessarily know how it would look or if it would be a good fit in the New York locker room.
We've never seen it. So we've never seen something, we're leery of it. Mm-hmm. We're afraid of it. We don't want it to happen. I think she'd be great because she's a winner. Winners win. South Carolina, 27 seasons before her, had never won a national championship, had never been in a Final Four. She's won more games in 17 seasons than South Carolina did in 27 seasons. It will come down to one thing. Does the locker room respect her? Will the players in the locker room allow themselves to be coached by a woman? That's what it boils down to. We know she knows her X's and O's. Olympic gold medalist, one of the best players ever played. Do they respect her? Will they allow themselves to be coached? And when there is a disagreement, can we disagree? And that's not a problem because she's a woman.
Yeah.
That will be the biggest challenge. But X's and O's, she's fine. You look at South Carolina. Her players coming to WNBA, they balling.
Yeah.
And so they've been taught very well. I want to see it happen because now it will open up the opportunity for more women that have hoped this chance would come. And it's it's different in football.
Personalize it, T, then, because you not only coach your kids, you played in the league for 12 years. Obviously, your league different than the NBA, but a league nonetheless. Personalize it for a moment, because there have been different women that have coached throughout the rankings. There's Jen Welchers, et cetera, started coaching with the Cardinals. Right. Personalize it. If there was a woman coaching you in the NFL, how would that have gone over for a 23-year-old T?
I'm going to be honest.
Why?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not just going to sit up here and lie because we on TV. I've never seen a woman play football, tackle football. And so when you tell me something that I may disagree with, now that's a problem. Now, depending on how that goes, will determine how the conversation goes when I say that to her. I can't say that to Dawn Staley or anybody both men and women play basketball. Both men and women are great at basketball. And so the football perspective, we've never seen a woman play tackle. At least I haven't when we were playing.
Now, what about coaches who didn't necessarily play at a high level, right? I think Bill Belichick may have played at low-level college, and he became the greatest ever. What about coaches who played football in middle school but became great coaches?
Once a coach shows you he knows his stuff, he knows what he's doing, but more importantly, he cares about you, the buy-in is there.
That's incredibly well said. That's the way to end the conversation. Hey, when we return, we got to go back to the breaking news. I told y'all it has been a chaotic sports day. Thank you all for buckling up, putting your seatbelts on, and riding this roller coaster with us. When we return, the Steelers have made several moves in the last 10 minutes. So how close is Aaron Rodgers now to a second Super Bowl? Acquired Jalen Ramsey, acquired Jonnu Smith in a breaking news trade. We'll talk about it next after the break. What a day in sports television. Steelers have had a very busy offseason. Aaron Rodgers acquisition, Darius Slay acquisition, and just moments ago, they traded for Jalen Ramsey, giving away Minkah Fitzpatrick, but they also acquired tight end Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith, fourth in receiving yards last year at tight end, ahead of Travis Kelce. James Jones, you have been waiting desperately. We were in an argument with the person to my right when it was Shady McCoy last week for about 30 minutes as to why Aaron Rodgers was so great with just one Super Bowl. But James, there is a chance.
There's a chance.
Now there's a chance Aaron Rodgers gets that ever so evasive second Super Bowl after today's moves. How close do the moves put Rodgers to the season?
This would be crazy, man, for Aaron Rodgers to beat the Steelers in his only Super Bowl and then go back to the Super Bowl with the Steelers. That would be crazy. But I think this is a very, very, very good fit for what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do. And I think this puts them closer to contending for a championship. I would not be surprised if they are one of the teams in the playoffs and have a true chance to contend for a championship. Jonnu Smith with Freiermuth, with DK Metcalf. You're going to be in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, running back, something that Aaron Rodgers loves to do. You play action pass out of that a lot. He's able to get the ball out of his hands out of that a lot too quick because you're able to spread people out. Listen, this can be a really good fit offensively. And then defensively, Jamar Chase is in your division. Zay Flowers is in your division. You have some really good wide receivers. T. Higgins is in your division. You have to be able to stop the pass. You got Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, we all know. And you add Jalen Ramsey to that defense, and we all know who is a lockdown defender. I think this puts the Pittsburgh Steelers closer. I really do.
All right, I'm going to give some percentages here. So before the trade, I'll say the Steelers had a 0% chance to win the Super Bowl.
Man, you had 0.
I'd give them a 3% chance.
Yeah, let's
so that's
Let's give them something.
I'd give them 3.
3.
I don't believe it moves the needle. It's not putting them above the Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, Lamar Jackson's and the Baltimore Ravens, and the Josh Allen.
Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there, though, T. Like, this is a Steelers team that beat the Ravens last year 18-16. Albeit they lost to the Ravens twice, playoffs included, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But this is a Steelers team that knows how to play the Ravens close without a Super Bowl MVP and a 4-time MVP in Aaron Rodgers. This is a Steelers team that they can challenge the Ravens. They lost to the Bills with Kenny Pickett at the helm, I think 2 or 3 years ago in the playoffs. But this is a Steelers team that they can play with the best of them. They can play with the best of them.
Defensively, they play with the best of them because of those guys on defense.
They're better offensively now.
They are better offensively, but I don't know if it moves the needle. It's not as if they have a guy on their offense that, man, we got to pay all this attention to him. They don't have that. They don't have a guy.
Isn't that Aaron Rodgers? Isn't that who that's supposed to be?
I think
it was Aaron Rodgers.
Should be DK and Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know. We don't know because, one, you got to build some chemistry. Yeah. And as much as we... it's gonna take some time.
Definitely.
They're better, but...
Okay, your answer to this question will tell me everything I need to know. If this was 2011 Aaron Rodgers, how good a chance?
Oh, yeah.
No defense, huh?
It wouldn't matter.
Okay, so this is an Aaron Rodgers thing, too.
It's because when he went to the New York Jets, obviously the first year is a wash. Last year, this is Aaron Rodgers. They about to go to work. And it didn't happen. And so that was surprising to me. But then when you look at his last year in Green Bay, it shouldn't have been surprising because he's a great quarterback, but he wasn't playing great his last year in Green Bay and the second year, which was last season, with the New York Jets. And so I can't anticipate him at this age now turning back the clock.
So really quick, though, because this year Aaron Rodgers was top 10 in passing yards and top 10 in touchdowns. As bad as we want to say Aaron Rodgers was in this team, he was top 10 in touchdowns and he was top 10 in passing yards. So if Aaron Rodgers could come out there and play some good football, which we believe he can, because what's crazy is I ain't heard one person up here mention it's Aaron Rodgers' first year after an Achilles. I ain't heard nobody say we just expect him to get back to MVP form. So if he was top 10
if he can go top 10,
but I'm saying, hold on. If
they
he
got
was
a
top
chance.
10 in those categories last year, and now you're coming off of an extra year off an Achilles, you're going to say he should be a little better, right?
Correct.
So if you get a little bit better Aaron Rodgers than that, and you're going to be
He's not a mobile quarterback, so I don't know how much that matters.
Got to take us to break. Hey, we've been zoomed in. After the break, let's zoom out of the conversation. If they're not going to win the Super Bowl, where does that put them in the AFC? Are they right behind the Chiefs? Is it Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, then the Steelers? Or are they still at the bottom of the barrel in some people's mind? Let's zoom out. It's breaking news. It's the last time you'll hear us talk about it all day. Do not miss our final thoughts on the huge news. Hey, with the breaking news of the day, let's zoom out for a moment. It's the last time y'all will hear us talk about it, at least for 24 hours. It is huge, huge news. Jalen Ramsey on the move, 3-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler. Mike Tomlin also acquired Jonnu Smith, tight end from the Miami Dolphins, 4th in receiving yards. James, if they're not going to be the Super Bowl champs, at minimum, tell me this. Where does a move put the Steelers in the AFC?
I would say the 5th best team.
Give me the 4 ahead of them.
I would say the Chiefs. I would say, and this is out of order, but I would say the Chiefs. I would say the Buffalo Bills, the Ravens. I'm missing one.
The Texans,
Chargers, Broncos. So you're the 4th.
I put them at 4. Because I'm not confident them teams can beat Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers with this.
To me, it's the same thing. The AFC South, that team is going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to be behind the Chiefs, the Bills, the Broncos, the Chargers.
Sir.
Yes, they are going. Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Come over here.
Yes, they're behind those guys.
Sir.
Yes, like y'all act like
they was in the playoffs last year too.
And they got smoked.
So did the Broncos.
Yeah, but the Broncos.
So did the Chargers.
Second-year quarterback, Bo Nix is going to be better. Jim Harbaugh.
You believe in Bo Nix more than you believe in Aaron?
I believe in Sean Payton more than I believe in the offensive system that they're running.
So you plead in the fifth round. Aaron Rodgers or Bo Nix you believe in?
Right now, I'll take Bo Nix. Right now. Yeah.
That's fair. I would have walked off.
Right now, you wouldn't take Bo Nix?
Honestly, if I didn't have to host the show, I would.
If you could start a franchise right now, who would you start it with?
If I didn't have to finish this show, I would have let. That was wild what you just said.
Right now, if you had a choice to start a franchise, you had Aaron Rodgers or Bo Nix, who you take?
25-year-old Bo Nix over the 50-year-old Aaron Rodgers. But in this season, TJ, what you said was one of the most wildly. Coven, it's the emoji segment. I know we're prepped for it.
What, give me a proof ad?
No, can I get the throw up emoji first?
No.
Please. Let me get the
James, we need you.
First.
Come on, James.
Let me get the puke emoji first, please. Now, thank you. After that one, Coven, can I please get the poop emoji, please? Please, let me get the poop emoji, Reggie. Please, let me get that one. Now, after the poop emoji, can I get the mind blown emoji, please? Can I get the mind blown?
So he wants every emoji going.
Please. No, now, after the mind blown emoji, please, can I get the angry emoji? Because what he said made me very upset.
And zoom in on Acho, too, because don't have T on camera.
Emoji, now, after the angry emoji, please, can I get let me get the sweating emoji, because what he said was so atrocious that it's actually made me sweat a little bit. Can I get, now, after the sweating emoji, please, can I get the nervous emoji? Because TJ should be nervous walking off the set because of the ridiculous thing.
Not at all.
Now, after the nervous emoji, can I please get the sunglasses emoji? Because I really don't want to see him. Hopefully these are so dark that I can't even see him. Please. Now, after the sunglasses emoji, can I please get let me get the star eyes emoji, because if I'm looking at the sun, hopefully it put calluses on my eyes so I don't even have to stare at this individual anymore. And then the last emoji that I'm gonna ask for, can I get the zipper mouth emoji? Because if T remembers nothing else, maybe he just doesn't even say anything the next time he thinks he wants to utter a take to suggest that Bo Nix is better than Aaron Rodgers. That's probably all I
With Sean Payton as a play caller.
And he's still going to
I'm taking him.
I put a zipper mouth for him.
But hey, this is the great thing about football. We're going to find out.
Literally the last one they do that, and he's still talking. Viewers, I done exhausted all my emojis. I exhausted the zipper, the angry, the star eyes, the sunglasses, and he's still.